Hello, Brenton. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Excellent.
That's good.
Very excited to be here.
I feel like I've got to do a little dance, Matt, just to shake off some of that energy from last night because it was another electrifying night for you and Liam and the team at Ray White at your in-room auctions. Today I just want to talk about your journey into real estate, the impacts that it's had, the transitioning from previous career, how you found it, what excites you about coming to work, what doesn't excite you about coming to work. And all in all, we're just super proud of your story. It's been awesome. I obviously take immense pride in all of our things in the business, but particularly with the sales team that are new to industry and been building a really great company for a long time now with all of the core group. And obviously now we've got more people joining. So this is all about you for a change rather than all about everybody else. So let's start from the beginning. I remember going back, we caught up, I think, for a skewy, and there was a phrase that you said to me was, "Gee, you've been in a good paddock."
Did I say that to you or did you say that to me?
And all I can say is I'm still in that good paddock. But I think that was really set the tone for our relationship, how we can just, there's no filter with you and I, and that's something that I think is really great. So we started by having a beer together, you, me and Rosa. And let's chat about it. You were working at the wine bank at the time. Yep. You're thinking about making the move into real estate.
Seems a long time ago. So obviously, being in that hospitality industry for 25 years, which I loved and really enjoyed. There was just, it was becoming a time where I was starting to explore where I was, what I wanted to do, and then, the future, for myself and my family and everything like that. So, just always thought, what am I going to do? Like, I suppose it's when you've been doing something for so long, it's a bit daunting to think, can I do something else? And it's scary. And I think that's why so many people don't do anything, the fear of actually making a change or doing something, and I suppose the transition to real estate for me when I was talking to you and Rory, which I've known Rory for a very, very long time, which was great. So there was that instant connection. So when we were talking about it, it was also like a conversation between mates, not just about a new employer, that to going into it. So that probably made it a lot easier than what it could have been. Yeah, I was super nervous and scared, like happy to tell people that, thought, well, what can I do? Like I always joke and say, all I can do is carry plates and wash dishes and cook a few meals and do all that. And I realize that my skill set's better than that. But even to this day, I still joke about it. I can say I can list, sell, and I can do food and beverage. That's all I can do. I can't do anything else. But obviously we all know we've got a lot more skills. But sitting down and having a chat, because that was at a stage where, my two boys were getting older and probably missed out on a little bit with the restaurant game, and Tan did an amazing job with our boys. And, I was working 6-7 days a week and really long hours. So like I still work long hours now, but at the same time, I can be home at 6 or 7 o'clock at night and having dinner with the family. And I've got more flexibility to do stuff with my boys where, the real estate game, it's brutal. Like it's every weekend and Christmas holidays, Easter holidays and everything like that. So I was sort of trying to find something that was going to be, I know we joked about this and said, don't talk about work-life balance because real estate's pretty tough too. But I feel that where I come from in real estate, I thought, can I find something that was going to be a bit better of a work-life balance? And also the next thing that I could do, not just as a job, but as a career and something that I would be passionate about and that I could do for the next 20 to 30 years. That's where those conversations started.
Yeah. And it was a pretty quick decision for Rory and I. We've always said that for good people, we would create something in the business, and you didn't necessarily start in sales. You come in to help out with the operations in the business, which we were at a time where, we were probably strained, to be honest. We were still, I don't look young anymore, mate, but like at that time you sort of come in, we were early 30s when you joined the business, and that's still really young to be running a business of that size. And I feel like you just sort of helped us, navigate through some time. So you sort of started in the operations thing, and we soon identified that you, as much as very good at doing, organising things and stuff like that, your skill set is talking to people and getting out and about and chewing the fat, and that personalised service is what makes a great sales agent, in our opinion. So we made that change. First year, not a story like Delaney and Ella and Darcy didn't come through a PA role. Straight out, throw you in the deep end and see how you go. And one thing that I remember quite fondly, and I think I say this nearly every year, when you're winning all your awards and stuff like that, I'm pretty proud when I write posts about you guys. And, I'll never forget that time. I was renting at the time, and it was up at Queen Street near the
email.
Yeah. And you were just under the pump, and I just said, come around and we'll have a couple of beers and we'll just pump out these emails together. And, from that moment on, you just keep building and building and building. First year, you're a premier agent in your first year. So for those people that are listening, that's top 11% across our industry. Fantastic achievement, And what was so rewarding for us watching that was, learning new programs is tough. Coming from an industry where you're on your feet all the time and talking to people all the time, to then having a lot of screen time and emails and admin and that, really admire the change, because there's a lot of people, like you say, that would not make the change for fear of failing or for fear of not feeling like, because you were, an icon in the restaurant industry. Everybody knows Matt Connolly from the Berserk days. Everybody knows Matt's into his wines. Obviously we've got that Vivino app for a reason, Matthew, but we won't go into that. But what family's really important to you, but like, how did you find that going from non-tech to heavy tech? Like, our business has got so much tech, like nearly too much tech. Was that hard?
That was the hardest part of the whole thing. And like, knowing Rory and his age and being, driven, and, I just saw, even whenever he was running businesses before he was at Ray White, and just how we'd market things and how we'd use certain technical platforms and everything like that. Yeah, I knew that I was entering a business that was going to be ahead of the rest. And also with the Ray White brand too, because I know, they're one of the biggest brands in the country, as we all know. And, they buy platforms and tech, and they also produce them as well. So I knew that we would, and it is really, really daunting. And I think we were talking about this morning, and you even mentioned too, you said you're old school, and I am too. I love my lists. I love writing down a list at the start of the day and then ticking it off. But yeah, the tech support and what we've got is second to none, that I know no other agencies in Bendigo, let alone the country, have got what we've got. And it is pretty incredible when you do sit down and work through it. And I know even when we're sitting down at the listing presentation with our customers and explaining what we can do and what we can offer and what we can do differently, when you've got that support there and you've got that relationship and you can explain it to people, that's the extra benefit that I believe we can offer. It's always a bit hard when you're up against 10 agents and it's all just about price and marketing. But when you've got a relationship, and that's what I love, is the relationship game, where you can sit down, have a glass of wine or a beer at the listing presentation, and you know them, and you've known them for 10, 20 years or 30 years, or even just for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And we've been nurturing that relationship, and you can have open, honest conversations and talk about the best process that we can do to try and get them the result that they sort of need. But no doubt about it, the tech, it was very daunting, and it still is a little bit now. But then I must admit, because everyone in the office jokes about Matt. He's got no idea with the technology, and he's, but I am better than what some people think.
Yeah,
and even when some new people start and they come to me and I go, I can show you how to do that. And they go, oh, you know a fair bit about this.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Russ,
I don't. Sometimes I don't want to, because I know they'll keep asking me more questions, and I'm so busy I just don't have the time, and I want them to go and ask someone else. But yeah, it's daunting, but it's without it, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Wouldn't be able to do the volume. Wouldn't be able to give the service, and have all the reporting and everything like that. How I can run my business within the Ray White business.
It's interesting. We talk about databases a lot in the real estate industry, and the reason why your pathway is so special is you've been working a database for the last 30 years of your life. In the restaurant, just because you didn't have a note in a tech system, you have it in your mind. And I think that's what makes great real estate agents, is the memory to be able to remember people's names, and when you put a face to a name. And, that's why your story is a bit different to the younger ones that come through, because they haven't had the life experience as yet, and they're doing a wonderful job, don't get me wrong, but they're just starting to build that. So, they've got a long, bright future ahead. But, the best thing about your listings is they come from, decades ago of friendships and conversations and people remembering you, and, being, honest and doing the right thing by people and supporting them. You always, when we go for a coffee, no shit, like, we're sorry, I'm sorry, Matt, it was no word of a lie, sorry. I feel like the 15 minutes we've got to go have a coffee, we need to be an hour and a half, because we're walking down the street and g'day, Matty, how you going? And what's going on? And that's they call that the local legend, is what they call that in real estate. Keith Sutherland, me and Rory worked and learnt from him for a little while, and he was a bit like that too. Everyone sort of knew who Keith was and, what he was about. And I think what you're, from an outside looking in, I think people are starting to look at you as the auction specialist in Bendigo. I reckon you, for a long time, we can talk about this, for a long time, probably weren't so keen on auctions at the start. And once you understood, like our customers, when you sit down and talk about the process and you talk about how you can achieve a result that's not necessarily always, I think sometimes people see great prices. I see good prices, genuine prices, transparent prices, and I see a finish line that's a clean-cut, stress-free process. But at the start, everyone thinks, oh, it's too stressful. So let's maybe spend a couple of minutes talking about that. So what made you change from going everything private treaty for those people listening is with a price, to I'm trying to try and auction everything?
First of all, probably the challenge.
Yeah.
Like I see everyone in Bendigo just private treating everything, and I'm like, is that the only way to sell a house? And I know it's not. Like, there's private treaty, there's auction, there's expressions of interest, sale by set date. And I'm like, how come everyone just does this? Is this the only way that people, and everyone says, yeah, auctions don't work in Bendigo, which I've now, we all prove it's not correct. Like, this financial year, I think the business has done over 20 auctions and they've all sold under the hammer, so they do work. I agree, it's a great transparent way where buyers and sellers can see where the market is, but at the same time, if there's multiple people that want to buy the property and we've got competition, we can get some amazing results for our vendors. And that's okay. Like, we are working for our vendors, but at the same time, I understand we need the buyers there so that we can get the result for the vendors as well. But both parties there. And I think, I remember I think it was my sister that said, my sister of all people, when I said I'm getting into real estate, she goes, oh, you're going to be an honest real estate agent. That's what she said to me. And I said, you're kidding me, aren't you? But so, yeah, I think we're tarred with a brush. And that's, yeah, I understand that. And, we do many calls and people don't answer the phone. They don't want to talk to us. But when they want to sell, of course they want to talk to us. But that's also okay. I understand that. And that's what we do. And you have to be quite thick-skinned sometimes, that they will answer the phone sometimes and might not answer the phone. But, I sort of wanted to dig deep. And I suppose from the Ray White brand and how they're an auction-based business, especially in more of the metro sort of areas. And I wanted to explore that more. And we've also done a lot of auctions, and you've done a lot of auctions, and you've called, I don't know, you've told me you've called 450 billion auctions or something like that. It's not nearly that many, but it's there as well. Yeah. So, and yeah, I just, when you've explained the process, and I think I am a very process person, and I love it. I love the structure, the organization, everything like that. And I say to my vendors all the time, the first thing I say, I'm like, if we price a property here and the first Saturday, and I always say if it was my property as well, if I want a certain price for my property and we price it and then we get 10 groups come through that first Saturday and someone offers us the top end of the guide, we have to take it. We'll always question ourselves, did we undersell it? Do you know what I mean? Could have we got more? But we also know real estate is if you put it too high, you can cook the deal. You put it too low. So the auction is about trying to run a campaign for 3, 4 or 5 weeks. And we've had successes with 3-week campaigns, which we did last night, and 4-week and 5-week campaigns. And it gives us that time to find out exactly how many buyers are out there in the marketplace and what someone's willing to pay, and to try and get them. So if we've got one person week 1, we want to try and get 2 or 3 people for our vendors so we can make sure we really maximize what it is. And of course, there's the unconditional contract, no 3-day cooling off period. They do all their due diligence. They get their finance first. They get their building and pests. Like, I can tell you so many horror stories about, conditional deals falling over. Yeah. I joke about it in every sales team meeting every Wednesday when we go around the room and we talk about things, and this has fallen over, or finance, or they're going back on price on this because building and pest has come back there as well. And I always joke and put my hand up and go, one word, and they all go, auction. Because correct, we don't have any of that, you know? So, but and I also feel, as being a true real estate professional, you should be able to do all the methods of sale.
That's right.
And I obviously go into a listing presentation and I say to people, great, we want to talk about price, we want to talk about marketing, we want to talk about commission, and we want to talk about method of sale. And some people go, what do you mean method of sale?
Yeah.
Because they all think it's just one.
That's right.
And more times now when I get called in, people are asking me, can you talk to me about auction? Because of course I can. And I'll never push anyone to do auction or private treaty. I like to go in and just say, this is what we offer. What would you like me to talk about? I'm also happy to give you a recommendation on your house, your circumstances, your timeline, the property, if it's got, and everything like that too. But yeah, I just feel, me as a professional, I want to give you the right advice.
Yeah.
We always joke about it, mate, whenever we say, if there's something wrong with us, we go to the doctor and we want professional advice. Well, I feel we're the same, that we want to be able to go into someone's home. We obviously have this amazing privilege of selling their best asset, which is worth a lot of money, and we want to make sure we do the right thing for them,
Yeah, and it's great that you talk about the methods of sale, because, if you go to any sort of profession and they only offer you half rather than full, you got to ask your question, are they delivering the best service they possibly can?
Correct.
And one thing that, for those that are listening, that some people think, yeah, you got a great result for the vendor, but what about the buyer? The buyers are actually ecstatic too, because they know that that's actually where the market is. Yeah. So they haven't overpaid. Yeah, they might have competed, because the only thing that's going to drive price normally is competition. That's the only way that's going to do that. More often, we had one the other week where it was 170 grand over reserve. Like that was unbelievable. And the buyer was ecstatic because the rest of the market was with them. They don't feel lonely, or they don't feel like something's hidden or whatever, so which is really cool.
And we can talk the other way too. Like, I'm happy to talk about it. Like, we talk about live things. If someone wants 500 and they don't want to budge, but then there's a live bid at 495, it's their call.
Yeah, that's
We'll
right.
never force anyone to do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
But at least the vendor can say, we've ran a 4-week campaign and there's been people putting their hands up at a certain point to there and it's not quite there. What would you like to do? We're more than happy to pass it in and try and negotiate, which we normally do anyway. Or if we have to price it on the open market with a price that they're happy to, we're also happy to do that too.
Yeah.
But at least they've had that time to find out. Like every single time, sometimes we pick up a listing that hasn't sold with another agency. Do you know what I mean? And one thing people always say is, we've had no offers, we've had no feedback, we've had no open for inspections, and they just and like they go, we hit them up on price and dropping our price and everything. anything. And I say to vendors all the time, if you've had no feedback, you've had no offers and no one go through, the agent hasn't done any work. Why would you reward them by dropping your price on your house?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like, so that's another reason what I love. And of course, we still run a private treaty campaign very similar to an auction campaign. Well, that's what I do. And that's what you taught me to do too. So it's the only way I know how to do it. But at least we've got, you know, some transparency there, and we've had time to have feedback people through and find out where it actually is, so that our sellers can actually make a calculated decision if it's the right decision or not.
Yeah, so I totally agree with what you're saying, and it's awesome that we've given some really great education to the people that are listening to this. Let's chat about a couple of things, get a little bit vulnerable with each other here. What's the hardest part about the job for Matt Connolly?
It's not turning off, which is hard. Which was the same as my original job when I was in hospitality, when you're running a business and you've got, you know, sometimes running 20, 30 staff, you know, and a business running 7 days a week and a lot of operational hours, which that was really, really hard. So, you know, you're also on all the time, you know, but I suppose sometimes with the hospitality, it's probably a bit easier to sometimes take a day or two off. When you've got some assistance and everything like that, where in real estate, if you're a standalone agent by yourself, it's all just about you. So, you know, if you try and have 2-3 days off and the phone rings and someone wants you to come and see them at their house, or you've got a live listing and there's a buyer and they can't go to that open home, but they need to go through Tuesday, Wednesday, you've just got to be on the whole time. So that's the tough thing. And we're talking about tech before, but the way we communicate with people these days and the response times that people want, I want them too, so don't get me wrong. You know, it's like phone, text, email, LinkedIn, Messenger, like there's so many platforms that people, and you've got to be watching that all the time. So it's really hard. Mate, we were away for a few days last week, and like it was me, you, Delaney, and Rosa, and like, you know, if someone took a photo of us, we're all on our phones like this, and then we're back in our rooms from 4 to 6, not having a rest, pumping out emails and calls and everything like that. So that's a tricky thing. But I suppose for me, from coming from that hospitality background where I was so heavily involved and everything like that, I'm kind of used to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the best things is exactly like, yeah, we work extremely hard and everything, but we've also got the laptop computer and we've also got the mobile phone. So even if you said to me, well, it's Thursday, we've got a conference in Melbourne to go to, or we want to do this on a Thursday, we've got the flexibility to do it if we're organised, because we can still be answering the phone, responding to emails and everything like that. Very hard on a Saturday because that's money day,
game day,
where we're doing all the open for inspections and trying to do as much as we possibly can. But that's the best day to work. You know, I think, you know, we spoke about earlier on, I'm going backwards a little bit here, but, you know, about when I sort of first come to the business and I was in operations, and as much as I liked that lifestyle a little bit, it was like Monday to Friday, sort of more 9 to 5 or whatever, I didn't get the buzz and the energy, and I lost that, because when you're in hospitality, yeah, going through a service is fun, and you get the adrenaline. There's no better thing. Well, there's a few things, and I'll tell you. Like, you know, running a Friday, Saturday night restaurant when you've got maybe 150 people going through and there's 6 in the kitchen and 6 on the floor and it's all running super, super smoothly and you're in charge of that and people are having a great time and the till's ticking over to the beat. And then at the end of the night, yeah, you know, you've had no complaints and you've taken good money and everyone's had fun and everything like that. Like, there's a real adrenaline rush, you know. So that period of 6 till 10 o'clock is awesome. You know what I mean? I sort of missed that when I was in that operations role. And I suppose going from that to sales, I get that adrenaline rush. So talking about the things that I really love about the job, which is probably your next question.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Actually.
Is that, like, when you list a property, you're super excited. Do you know what I mean? You're like, and I listed one last night just before the auctions, do you know what I mean? So I've sold 4 at auction. That's all good. Then I'm on the computer and I'm sending out to the team, new listing, do you know what I mean? And it's just go again. It's like there's no rest. But, you know, that new listing was just as exciting as selling those 4 last night. Yeah. So you get really excited when you list it, do you know what I mean? Saturdays when you're doing the open for inspections and you're meeting people, because, yeah, there still is a lot of office time, admin, and everything like that. So Saturdays is where you go, oh, great, we don't have to do admin today. We're out on the tools. So that's kind of the Saturday night restaurant thing for me. And then obviously then when you do a deal, whether it's just under contract, obviously you get an adrenaline rush with that. And then when it goes unconditional, you get another adrenaline rush there too. So it's kind of like you get three goes. And then the best one too, which is settlement day.
Yeah.
Like I had a great settlement yesterday with someone who I've known for a really, really long time, and to go around and give them a present and a box of beer and a bottle of champagne and everything like that. So that's kind of that customer service. And, you know, she said, oh, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I said, yes, I do. And I want to do it because, again, I've known them for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I was very thankful that they gave me the opportunity to sell their house. And it's a huge transaction.
Absolutely.
And everything like that. So the least I can do is, you know, spend $200-300 and go and see them and say, here you go, thank you very much. And by the way, give me a call when you want to drink the champagne. I'll come around and have it and everything like that there too. So yeah, that's the thing. And then we tap into the auctions, which is just next level. Like there's just, you know, I say to my vendors, like even last night, yeah, it's great to say, I don't run out of I run out of sold stickers, but not unconditional, because we do a lot of auctions. You know what I mean? Unconditional, but then sometimes we go back and take it off and it goes back on the market. There's no better feeling when it goes straight to sold, you know? So that I do get a real rush to do that. So that's what that's what I'm passionate about. I do love the industry for that, and it gives me that adrenaline rush for all those components there as well.
I guess I know you're a very busy man. I just had two more questions to ask for you. What's the next step for Matt Connolly in his real estate career? You know, we touched before, you know, you've been an elite performer ever since. So elite performers are top 3 or 4% in the network. You do nearly 100 sales a year in your group. You know, number 2 regional agent, you know, in the whole Vic Tas, fantastic achievement.
That little Darcy.
Yeah, little Darcy got ya.
We'll get him this year, don't you worry about that.
You know, number 4 last year. So you're definitely growing, and you're definitely, you know, Liam, you know, in your team as well, you know, but what's next for you? What's the next goal? Because you're sort of at the elite level, you know what I mean? Like you're in that bubble of consistent work, great reviews. You know, I love the reviews when they come in every week, and we put them up on the sales PowerPoint, you know, when Russ adds them on there. But I get a real kick out of that, you know, like, but like what's the next step?
Great question. Yeah, look, it's still only been a short period of time, you know. We want everything so quickly, but I've still only been doing it for 6 years, you know, so, and we're improving and getting better all the time. But I think, and the way that the business is going, and the way that, you know, we know what works within the Ray White group with all the other people who are in the, you know, in the marketplace too, is it's all about teams, isn't it? You know, I mentioned one thing before that I said it's really hard that you can't switch off. There's no doubt about it. Doing what I do now without Liam wouldn't be possible, like, because it's capacity. And one thing about real estate is you can prospect and prospect and prospect, you know, and that's how I got to where I was. And I love that saying, as you know, and I say it to my boys all the time. Do you know what I mean? Talent beats
hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
Correct, 100%. I got tongue tied for a second there, but exactly right. And that's what I think I've proved along the time. I didn't feel that I had the talent, but if I hustled harder and worked harder than everyone else, I could get the result. So yeah, and now I feel that I am getting the recognition, and I've got the ability and I've got the talent, but I still want to keep hustling. But I know it's about building a team for long sustainability to running a business there as well. So yeah, we're looking to grow the team. I know even in the business at the moment, we're introducing a bit more support for the agents with this campaign manager role, which basically is another member joining our team, which will hopefully free Liam and I up not doing as much admin, so that we can spend more time with our customers, with our buyers and sellers, which will be fantastic. And also to try and free us up a little bit of more personal time, which is also 100%. Just as important. So, and there's no doubt about the way that we're going is, we're probably going to bolt on another person into the team. And, you know, I'm not sure Liam might be in the team for another year, 2 years, 5 years, or he might go out on his own, or he'll start listing and selling more, and we'll need another couple of people in there. So yeah, we're in an exciting stage where we've been talking about this too, about our team and how we build that team, because I think we've proven definitely in the last 3 years with yourself, with Alla and Delaney and obviously Declan and Darcy and Liam and myself, that teams will get better results. It's not just about one person, you know. And then even in that as a sales team, so it means there's more people in the sales team. So we're trying to grow the sales team, but we also know when you get to a certain level that it's about building a team within a team that is the best way for success and long-term success. And the business will only be better for it if we do that, and we're working on it there as well. So, yeah, great question. Working on it, always working on it. And, yeah, looking forward to probably in the next, realistically, 3 to 6 months, looking at that next stage to potentially putting on another person in the team so that Liam can grow more. And obviously I can still continue to grow. And I think organically, yeah, we're still going to keep building our business, and there's no doubt about it. The Ray White team of Bendigo is continuing to grow massively. Like, yeah, it amazes me how much we've grown in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, can't do it without you guys though. Like, and it's yeah, it's a proud moment for Rory and I and the rest of the business. You know, having the office renovation completed hopefully by Christmas will be just brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
That's a big milestone for us as a group. You know, buying the building was, you know, that next step in life, you know, and then now renovating it. We really think it's a really nice place to come to work. You know, we've added some great additions to the business from a leadership point of view, which things like this and last week in Darwin couldn't happen without them.
Correct, I agree.
You know, I reckon last week, last week was really great spending time together, and I'm looking forward to doing it again when we go over to New Zealand and, you know, go to your elite conference and stuff like that and sit down and talk about, you know, how we're going to continue just to get better. And I think sometimes you and I are the catalyst of that. Like nothing's ever enough. And when we get to that point, I just personally think that's great leadership. It means that, you know, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I know there's things that I can always improve on, but I'm definitely trying. Like, you know, and you're trying too. You know, I've loved the last 12 months, your whole demeanor and being a bit more relaxed in times when it's frustrating. You know, you and I, we want things to be like perfect now. I don't want to wait 31 minutes, you know, like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just makes you and makes you a great person that you are.
Funny, someone mentioned after the auctions last night when we're having a little cheeky glass of wine when everyone left, and said that, they saw a big change in myself in the last 2 years. And it was nice of that person to say that. There was a bit of a joking on both sides, but when you walk away and you reflect on that and you think, yeah, because still trying to grow, you know, and I'm not perfect. You know, you and I have got a bit of a reputation for being quite hard and brutal sometimes, and we demand a lot, and we joke all the time, where's this, where's that, why is this not done, and everything like that. But that's just because we're passionate and we care and we want things done, and we're also workaholics. Like, let's face it, that's why I love the job too. I'm a workaholic, so I'm working in an industry that I can just
work whenever you want.
When everyone's just putting the phone down at 7 o'clock, I'm still researching the market, sending off proposals, sending text messages. Like, I love it. Like, people respond at night time.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, ring me at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'll chat to you.
Yeah.
Don't ring me at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, because my hospitality time clock's still not adjusted. I don't think it'll ever be adjusted. But, so I'm happy to do that. But that's what I love. You know, that's what I love about it.
We'll probably wrap it up there, mate. But yeah, you just, every year you just get better and better and better and better. And like you say, you've done your apprenticeship, you know, and there are so many moving parts in real estate. There's so much emotion in real estate. And I reckon that's what makes you such a great agent, is you wear your heart on your sleeve. So it's black or white with you. So, and there's a particular type of customer that really loves that. And there's a type of customer that will never be your customer.
Correct.
And that's okay. You've found your niche. You've found the people that have a mutual respect for you. You've got high volume. You're running a great team. You've got really good synergy now. And I'm really excited for you next year. And hopefully you can pip Darcy at the post and what a wonderful thing for Ray White Bendigo. You know, everyone's motoring. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking that real estate might be for you, we're always on the hunt for good people, even if Matt and his team are not necessarily ready at the moment. We're definitely wanting to talk to you and start building a pipeline as to when we might be able to begin another great story and have another great life working with Ray White. Thanks for coming on, Matty.
Thanks, Brent.
Cheers, mate.